Hey, hello. It is Tuesday, March 23rd, and we're going live on YouTube. The live stream is here for the Cyber Future Now. I'm Mario. This is my co-pilot, Jesse. Jesse, how you doing?
Mario, I'm doing good, but I wasn't able to get the live streaming at work this time because they want me to use Chrome, and I'm not down with that. So we're gonna upload this after we're done recording.
And look at us. We were trying, right? We were trying to get into the Matrix, right? We're trying, like, okay, we'll be good boys. We'll play in the Matrix tonight. And they don't want to do it. I hear you. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. We will reconfigure, we regroup, and eventually start pulling people out of the Matrix. But I guess right now we're working on a recording. So we're going to run with that. Jesse, man, where can I get that? Where can I get that flag?
I actually got this on Amazon. It's like less than $10. I don't know, maybe $7 or so.
I gotta have it, dude. Send me that link if you will. So hey, if you're listening, not watching, Jesse's got the Space Force flag. It is awesome, and I think I got to rock that on the other side of my little backdrop here. I got Old Glory to one side. I got to get the Space Force on the other. So hey, it is the Cyber Future Now. It is March 23rd, and oh my gosh, the pace of change just accelerates. More and more crazy stuff is happening. I had to pick and choose over what I was going to try to shock Jesse with tonight. How about you, Jess?
Definitely. And just for our new viewers that maybe haven't tuned in before, the whole idea behind Cyber Future Now is that Mario and I use news stories, current events from the week to prognosticate the changes that Mario and I feel are going to be happening over the next year and beyond as we move into what Mario and I have coined the cyber future. We think the future looks radically different. We want to help people prepare for it, and news and current events and looking at the changes and the rapid change of pace is a great way to do it. So yeah, Mario, I've got a few crazy stories to share, and I'm sure you do as well.
This is true. Hey, Jesse is not afraid to dig down in the crazy world to see what's going on. You know, man, it has just been absolutely wild, wonderful way to sum it up. And yeah, here's our news views, and most importantly, our takeaways is we really want to just try not to entertain, but we want to enrich our listening and viewing audience with valid, actionable tools that they can put to work. So if you are listening, if you are watching, you might want to take a notepad or open up a couple windows. This is not a spectator sport, my friends. We are expecting you guys to rise to the challenge with us and embrace this cyber future, this blockchain crypto thing that's happening. So let's get right to it. Jesse, do you want to throw the first shocker, or do you want to leave it to me?
How about you go for it, Mario?
I will go for the first one. Let's see what we can do. Okay, this is a shocker slash not shocker, but I thought it was funny nonetheless. The IRS is giving itself an extra month this year. And I stress that because last year the IRS gave itself 4 months to prove to you, the viewer, the listener, that you should file your taxes. Well, the IRS is feeling much more confident this year. They only need an extra month to prove to you that you need to file your taxes. Now, me, I say, hey, file them, okay, but take note. This points to what Jesse and I have talked about, the breakdown of the machine. It is struggling right now to function when it is dealing with lockdowns and all this other nonsense. Jesse, what do you think?
Very interesting. Personally, I don't know. My sense is that the IRS is going away, maybe sooner rather than later. I think it's partly an intuitive type thing, just like the writing's on the wall. It's an outdated way to collect taxes. I personally would love to see the, flat VAT tax, the 17% that a lot of people talk about. But yeah, it's interesting. Did they give a reason specifically why? It's just basically COVID. We don't need as much as last year.
You know, the stated reason is along the lines of, hey guys, we're here to help you. But I can tell you, I have been on the phone with our wonderful IRS representatives, I probably 10 or 12 times since the start of the year, trying trying to help them, if you will. You need this document. How do I get it to you? You need this. How do I get it to you? Hey, I filed this months ago. How can I help you find it for me? And this is not to disparage the people that work there. It's rather just to highlight how burdened many aspects of our authority are right now with regards to managing public records, and in particular the taxes. And I'm beginning to arrive at the same conclusion that you are, Jesse. I think we're seeing that it's going to struggle to keep up, and I think it's going to struggle to maintain the public's trust. And we may well see a reinvention or a reconfiguration of how our selected officials and untrustworthy authorities, you know, fix this system, because they need it to work. And I think we could make the case that we need it to work as well. And it's not working so great right now. So will we get back to normal? I kind of doubt it.
Have you ever seen any of the videos on YouTube with the former IRS employees that banded together, and like basically the idea is that they say they've won this lawsuit that shows that the IRS is completely unconstitutional, and so like the income tax, and that you don't have to pay income tax, and they don't, and they've gotten away with it with a court ruling in their favor.
I am familiar. I am familiar with the arguments around the sovereign individual and all that sort of stuff. I have seen people go that route, and I don't know that I would recommend it. Even if you win, it is a costly victory. And you know, as this Bitcoin blockchain crypto space begins to absorb the existing system, because I think we're beginning to see things porting over, right? And going, oh, wait a minute, the US dollar as a currency, this dollar empire, it's losing its usefulness. And so we'll just use it till it's not useful anymore. And then we're just going to literally hop off that sinking ship, and we're going to hop on this new one. And we'll see, I think, some changes. I could see the taxing system, even the voting system, be reimagined, reconfigured within a blockchain as we move forward. Maybe not next year or even the next couple years, but perhaps by the end of the decade. So
it's interesting that you mentioned the post office, because they actually have recently filed a US patent for a blockchain-based voting system. So it'll be interesting to see if that gets implemented, because of the whole like states are supposed to run their elections, type of a thing. But
So I say, hey, they're giving you an extra month. If it's in your favor, take advantage of it. If not, do what you need to do. Maintain a non-adversarial relationship with this agency, and focus on thriving through the cyber future as it arrives. So that was my first one. Shocker, not shocker, I would have to say. How about yourself?
All right, let's see what we got here. Share screen. Okay, thought it would make sense to cover the shooting that happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 10 people died yesterday from this asshole idiot that decided to do this, and I thought it would be worth it, just to talk about it. I'm really not 100% sure what to say other than start going into my conspiracy theory stuff.
And I'm snickering, not because this is funny. It isn't. It's a tragedy. This guy shot, I guess he killed 10 people in this supermarket in Colorado. Um, and yet, we've been seeing an increase in crime all the way around, and we can anticipate that this will be a continuing trend because we're heading into some rough waters here. Currency crisis is just going to have people at their wits' end, and anybody who's close to the edge is that much closer. This gentleman, Ahmad Al-Alawihi Alisa, I believe he used an AR-15
About
to.
a week ago.
Okay, so oh dear, here we're gonna go with the let's take all of the firearms away from the law-abiding people, right? The people who would never do something like this, and that's going to prevent, I'm sure that the effort out of DC will emerge again, as it always does anytime something like this happens, to try and
Already
disrupt
happening.
the public. Yeah.
Biden was pushing for assault weapons ban. Schumer was on today saying he's going to push for it in the Senate. It's
Well, let's just touch upon this one for 90 seconds or so. So first of all, technically, assault weapon is a misnomer, or assault rifle. People think AR stands for assault rifle. It does not. It actually stands for Armalite. It's a style of rifle that can be assembled, disassembled, reconfigured, kind of like Legos, which makes them very popular with people because people like to customize theirs out in different colors or different little features. It is simply a semi-automatic rifle. It is not automatic. It does not spit out 600 rounds a minute or anything like that. I've seen various politicians speak to this, and they really don't know what they're talking about. They're assuming that it is a military issue M4, which you will get if you're in the military. Let's say you're on deployment in Afghanistan or Iraq, that kind of thing. And yes, those are or can be selectorized. You hit a switch to 3-shot bursts or automatic. Most people don't like those because you run out of ammo too fast. Nobody wants to shoot ammo willy-nilly all over creation in the law-abiding public. So typically you just have semi-automatic rifles, and they are used in sports. They are used for hunting, and they do make a viable self-defense rifle. I wonder why the government seems so intent on attacking or trying to confiscate a rifle that is used so seldomly, aside from Mr. Ahmad Ali Alawi Alisa. He used an AR-15. Ahmad. Hey, they're going to try to confiscate them. They're going to try to pass punitive or taxing laws. Will they be successful? I tend to think not. Will they be enforceable? You got a lot of people that aren't trying to kill people that just ain't going to turn them in.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I guess the takeaway from this is get a gun now while you still can. If there's a pause in you being able to acquire one, get ammo if you can find it. It's expensive and difficult to find already right now. And I waited for close to a month for my last package to arrive in the mail. But just nobody had a gun on them that could have, I'll tell you what, if I was in that store and I had my 6-shooter on me, I would have gone after the fucker. You know what I mean? I mean, I wouldn't have let that gone down. And I do have my 6-shooter on me all the time. So
yeah,
if there's any fucking retards in Arizona right now that are thinking about shooting up a supermarket, just know that I might be in there and I'm definitely coming for you.
It's John Lott is probably one of the preeminent writers and researchers on guns ownerships, crime. He has the Crime Research and Prevention Center, and he really debunks the common popular narratives that people will usually promote around trying to confiscate the firearms of law-abiding citizens. And all of these types of things happen where people are not armed in the quote unquote gun-free zones. They go where they don't expect. It's the dynamic of a bully, right? Who does a bully pick on? Somebody who can't fight back. A bully does not go seeking an opponent. It seeks a mark. And between this, defund the police, and the various rioting that's occurred over the past year, I just see an American populace that is rightly cautious and is going to be very reluctant to just turn in their firearms by virtue of guilty by association, right? I'm guilty by association because some wacko does this. I'm going to hold on to mine even tighter. Yeah, I have to agree. Like, I just, I'm sure they're going to try. I don't think it'll be effective at all with their efforts.
Yeah.
All right. So, gosh, I guess I don't really have non-shockers, but I'll just to reiterate, Eureka alert. Hey, how about that? Let's just come back full circle. It's a good idea to be armed in the cyber age. It's a good idea to take vitamin D as well. More people are jumping on the bandwagon, recognizing the growing number of thousands, tens of thousands of positive case reports, people taking vitamin D, both to treat the bug as well as prevent getting infected in the first place. Due diligence for all of the listeners and viewers. 50 nanograms per milliliter is the floor, my friends. 50 ng/ml. You can track your D level with the D minder. Probably going to take you 10,000 IUs of vitamin D a day. I'll repeat that just one more time. 50 ng/milliliter is the floor for effectiveness. You're probably going to need 10,000 IUs vitamin D a day. You can track or estimate your level for free with the D Minder app on your phone. I'm doing it. How about you, Jesse?
I went down to, I'm actually writing that because I got to go get some blood work done, and I want to make sure I get my vitamin D levels checked here. 50 nanograms per milliliter is awesome. And yeah, I went down to 5,000 IUs recently, just because I was like doing 10,000 for a long time. I was like, I better get my levels checked. I was thinking, but yeah, I'm a firm believer in the vitamin D. The research seems amazing behind it, and ideally get yourself in the sunlight. Half an hour, 45 minutes a day, direct sunlight, noon. But supplementation. What would you say, Mario? If somebody's getting that kind of sunlight, should they still be supplementing?
That is a great question. I did the experiment, right? Guinea pig myself before all this happened, like 3-4 years ago. I was looking into this, and I went out during the summer for 12 weeks, half hour in a speedo on my patio, right? For the benefit of all my neighbors to freak out about it. I would go and literally tan for a half an hour, virtually every day. This was Los Angeles, latitude 32. I then proceeded to get my blood tested. I was shocked to find my vitamin D level was only 31.
Wow.
This was after going out in a swimsuit for a half hour a day at latitude 32. So LA and Atlanta, just think of that line going across the US. That's kind of considered the line of demarcation. If you're north of that, you probably get no vitamin D in the winter. And that was very sobering to me. So now that being said, at that same time, I was tracking this because the D Minder app will show you this. And, June, July, half hour in a Speedo, I was getting 5,000 IUs a day, making that. And that is the preference. I mean, that's the number one way to do it, if you can, is get a tan. Not a burn, but a tan. The supplements are not as good, but they're, for most people, just the only practical way to bridge that gap. And it was when I was doing both, my subsequent test went to 64 nanograms per milliliter. And then subsequent to that, I went all the way up to 92. And that's just going sun and doing 10,000 IUs a day. So I consider 5,000 IUs the floor. And then the D Minder will help calculate this for you to estimate your level with a fair degree of accuracy. Like it's within 5-7 points of the blood test. So it ballparks it nicely. And so, yeah, I've gone between 5 and 10. In the wintertime, I'd bump it up to 10. There are concerns about excessive levels, but there are varying opinions upon what constitutes that. And it keeps going higher as people do more research. So now people are thinking, okay, if you get over 125, 150, that might be a bit much. But
125 nanograms per milliliter.
Correct.
Okay.
But 50 to 100, no problema.
Awesome.
No problem. This is the feedback that's coming back in. People say, hey man, it's good. And it goes way beyond the COVID thing too. I mean, this insulates you against major chronic disease. And what are the 3 major chronic diseases? Heart disease, cancer, dementia. Each one of those is driven by soft tissue calcification, right? Calcium clogs the arteries. Magnesium, calcium imbalance in the cells cause mitochondrial dysfunction, can incite cancer. Calcification of the brain, dementia, right? Calcium in the wrong parts of the body. Well, beauty of vitamin D is a calcium mobilizer. It helps put the vitamin D or the calcium where it's supposed to go. Doesn't let it leak out to where it's not supposed to go. So it's a no-brainer in the cyber age. You got your Bitcoin in one hand, your vitamin D in the other. You got your gun tucked in your waist belt. You're good to go.
And if you need a place to get some super cheap vitamin D and C, Steve Bannon's War Room is doing a special. So just Google that, vitamin D, Steve Bannon's War Room. And I think they're literally giving it away for free. You just pay for shipping and handle it.
Wow. Well, hey, take advantage of that, guys. Get yourself a supply. Also, we should add, when we think about essential items, as we go through this transition of dollar decline and crypto ascension, many of these essential items are not going to be easy to obtain. Things like firearms, ammunition, vitamins, food, energy. Like, you need to stockpile some of this stuff. You should have a year supply of it in your hand. Doesn't get cheaper than free. My gosh, go get some from Steve Bannon. Hey, good on him that he's doing something like that. I think that's great. All right. What's the next shocker?
All right. What do I have for you here? Vaccine passports. Will they be available in the US in time for summer? From NBC News. I love how they phrase that.
Oh, well, hey, you can't say that they're not good at what they do. They are good at slinging the BS. So, I mean, they're telling you what the agenda is, right? They're letting us know, which is great. I just want to know. Let me know what they're planning to do, and that I know what I need to plan to do. Yeah. Wow. We figured this was inevitable. The narrative of the variants and the evidence of some side effects, right? The pressure to get people into the system and vaccinated, knowing that you're going to need a booster next year, the year after, the year after, the year after. Boy, this becomes pretty profitable if you're big pharma. Will it work? I tend to think they're running up against a time problem. Does the dollar have enough time left on its odometer for them to get this through? Or will dollar issues intercede in their efforts to execute this process?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess what I would say to that is I'm not getting a vaccine passport. I'm not interested in getting any jabs.
Not doing it.
I'm pissed that I got, whatever you get when you're a kid. I wish my parents wouldn't have vaccinated me, but it is what it is.
Well, it bears making sure you set the table with the word salad, right? So you know what it is. So the principle of vaccine, of the body developing a protein antibody to a specific infection, right? specific infections, specific protein antibody. That's not an invalid concept. And the idea that that specific antibody could be universal in the population, which would basically a vaccine like a polio vaccine or smallpox, that's not an invalid concept. But what is being propagated now as vaccines are technically, they are not vaccines. They are not universal protein antibodies. These are mRNA messenger gene editors, genetic engineering. That is not a vaccine. So this is like taking a drone, and calling it a passenger airline or something. Like there's a real misnomer going on here. And this has been a thing I think that's been going on for a while. I don't know. In your day, we got relatively few shots. The Gen Xers, I know they're trying to put the needle in the arm of every little kid, like around the clock. It seems like.
No. I did have an idea there, but it slipped my mind. So sorry about that.
Give it a minute to bake. Give it a minute to bake. For our listeners and our viewers, please do your due diligence. Look into what they are offering you specifically, not the vaccine, but who is making it and what it is, and check into the potential side effects. I think we're going to see a number of them.
So this is me going off into my conspiracy theory type stuff here, but it's an interesting thing to think about in that Monsanto, for example, makes designer seeds, right? And they are able to copyright or patent. They're able to patent those seeds because you can't patent something that isn't from nature.
Right.
Well, so the idea there is that, you now, if you have had your genes, your fundamental makeup, your genes altered by a corporation, is there...
I'm following what you're saying.
If not now, in the future, could there be a claim on, saying, well, these aren't human beings anymore, therefore they don't qualify for human rights, and they're property of Moderna because we've patented them.
I am familiar with the narrative. I know exactly what you're saying. That is a following of the thread with regards to the straw man, the sovereign individual, and hey, people, take out your driver's license and look at your driver's license. You will see the name is in all capital letters. That name is not technically you. That name is tied to your social security number, not you. So the notion that perhaps there would be some intellectual property that could be injected into you, and then yes, they would then have a legal claim on you, is not that far out there. One wonders. Simple solution: take vitamin D and stay at the back of the vaccine line, at the very back. Let the people who are eager to go first, and let's see how this plays out. We are already seeing evidence of problems with side effects, which could be as varied as the manufacturers of the vaccines and as varied as the populations are around the world, because we are somewhat genetically different from one group to another. So who knows how these mRNA gene editors are going to interact with specific populations. I was talking to people a couple nights ago, and I said, this is like the super soldier serum, but it's targeting just your immune system. You might end up with Captain America. You could end up with the Hulk. Now, the Hulk is stronger, but he causes a lot more problems because he's not under control. That's not a good thing. So, I'm going to stay at the back of the line, let everybody else go first, take my vitamin D. And also, for that matter, I think I'm going to stay at the back of this line too. This dovetails perfectly into to your point. So this is how desperate they are to get people to take this this jab. They're gonna give donuts. I literally broke out laughing when I saw this. Oh, I clicked through. I did something wrong. Hold on. Let me bring it back there so everybody can see. So Krispy Kreme is offering donuts to you if you get the vaccine. Now think about this for a second. Even the authorities are telling us that it's the unhealthy that are more susceptible to infection and fatality from the bug. Okay? And they talk about the comorbidity factors of being overweight and diabetic and what, all this stuff. Like basically, if you don't take care of yourself, you are a prime target for this thing. And if you have taken care of yourself, much less so. And they want to give the undisputed king of junk food, the unrepentant, irredeemable king of junk food. It's crappy fats, crappy carbs. Like if you wanted to destroy your health in a hurry, like if this was a goal you had and you needed to do it without breaking the bank, donuts would be your number one core staple food. It is devoid of any vitamins and minerals and chock full of refined sugars and seed oils and crappy hydrogenated fats. It is the perfect junk food. The perfect junk food. Combine that with a soda and you have a recipe to kill somebody in 36 months. I promise you.
Yeah, it does kind of look good though. I will say that.
Hey, I didn't say it wasn't good. And I didn't say there isn't a place for it in one's life. I'm not a purist. I am a pragmatist. And if you can get away with having a couple and not paying the price, that's what you want, right? That's the goal. It's like somebody who's financially independent. They're part of the capital class. They can afford to splurge because they have money working for them rather than having to work for it. Wonderful. That's the goal. That's not what's being promulgated here.
I did hear about this story, and I heard that there's they're not putting limits on it either. No. So like, if you wanted multiple donuts every day for the rest of the year, that's like, that's definitely a clown world article right there. Total clown world.
Honk, honk. Yeah. That is perfect. Add a donut a day to your diet. Take the vaccine. Trust me. Don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. Take your stimulus check and, go buy the latest, I don't know, Xbox or something. That perfect. Absolutely perfect. So I felt I had to share that one.
Definitely.
What's coming next there?
All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I think you're going to like this one, Mario.
All right.
Are you ready for some football? Again from NBC News. NFL has 100 billion that says you are. Are you ready to stream some football?
Wow.
So I guess the NFL is seeing the light on streaming and is making big deals. Everything's going to continue on the, preferred regular media channels, but ratings are down. They're looking for ways to reach new audiences, and they've inked a whole bunch of deals through 2033 to start streaming, including with an exclusive deal with Amazon. And I thought this tied in really nicely to something that you and I have become enthusiastic about, and that is a cryptocurrency called Theta.
And great find. Great. You got me on that one. So we're trying to see who can stump who with what we find in the news every week. You got me on that one. That is great. And yes, this points very much to Theta. For the past several years, people have been slowly but steadily abandoning the cable, right? Cable TV, and going increasingly to streaming platforms. The streaming platform right now is choking from the amount of data that's moving through it. And Theta is a project, a cryptocurrency and a token that has a solution to this by decentralizing this bandwidth. So instead of having a choke point where all this data is going through, where people trying to watch their programming, that bandwidth can then be distributed and shared, and allows the token owners of Theta to participate financially in this streaming highway, right? And so this just points to it. I think the big money already sees the problem and are quietly and discreetly positioning themselves in projects like Theta, recognizing that streaming is the future, but only if the bandwidth can be accommodated. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, I'll just thank you personally for turning me on to Theta. And I wish I would have listened to you sooner, but luckily I've made huge gains on my holdings. And I'm looking at the Theta charts today and going, holy crap. It's like, I think it peaked at like way up. I think it almost hit $15 at one point.
No, I didn't know that.
Above 14.
Oh my God. Okay. So.
And Mario was telling me about this at 70 cents, guys. So this is a good podcast to turn into because we're talking about stuff before it happens.
Says it right there, UncleMario.net. Listen to your Uncle Mario. So this got on my radar, and I was a little slow to pull the trigger myself because you get distracted with everything that was going on last year. Spinning these plates and putting out fires related to the bug and the lockdowns and the availability of goods. And I keep hearing about this, reading about this. Okay, I'll get to it. And then finally I just said, man, I have got to just park myself in front of the computer for 2 hours, read the white paper, see whatever everybody's talking about, and go to the website and start investigating this. And adoption and utility are the two litmus tests that I'm watching for in the cyber future in the crypto space. If a particular project has a token or a coin that has real utility, that solves a problem, maybe even an urgent problem, that's ideal, and just as importantly is adopted, is popular in essence, because it's a popularity contest, popular by the big boys first. That's really what matters, because if you have the grassroots people who think it's a good idea, but the authorities don't want it, don't like it, or don't have a piece of it, they will suppress it. Okay? I don't see that with the Theta Project. The Theta Project solves an urgent problem that the big boys need solved. And when I recognized that, and it took me a minute, I thought, well, it's time to start talking about it. So we are. And the party's not over. You said the token was up to $15?
I just checked. It peaked all-time high today at 1453. It's down a little bit right now.
1453. Wow. Wow, that was the year that the Ottoman Turks sacked Constantinople. So interesting.
That is interesting.
Crazy non sequitur, irrelevant non sequitur. Nonetheless, at $14, the party is not over, and here is why. So Theta, I'm gonna pull this up here. There we go. Theta deals with streaming video. But that's not the only thing it can do. It could function as a viable replacement for Ethereum. Okay? So Ethereum, I've dealt with it for several years. I'm familiar with it, got on my radar back in probably 2016, something like that. And Ethereum also is a highway, right? A transactional highway that has been built out that allows developers, people who want to put together programs, to put those programs like a highway. You can put a toll booth on that highway. Okay, and problem with Ethereum is that it's slow and it's expensive. And for the last several years, it has been the only game in town, or the main game in town. And if you go and check the charts, and you'll see Bitcoin has the #1 price because it was first, even though it's arguably worst. But it's been adopted by the big boys because they're going to go for digital gold. It's been chosen, like, okay, it's slow and it's expensive, and that works for digital gold. And we're going to park our money in there because we like the security of something that is actually slow, inexpensive, and not that easy to use. We're going to park it there and keep it there. Fine, granted, for that it works well. But that sucks for Ethereum, because Ethereum is not digital gold vault. It is a highway, and it is a problem. I have been messing around with it. It is always expensive and slower than hell, and Theta is much faster and much cheaper. So if you look at the Ethereum price, and I want to say it's around $1,800 right now, I think a lot of that is based on the fact that it was first or second to Bitcoin, but first in its class, and just name recognition. You have people going into the crypto space right now that know really not that much about it, but they're going there because they feel the uncertainty about what's going on in the dollar space.
Yeah.
Maybe Ethereum will solve its problems. But it needs to. And if it doesn't, Theta may well become the landing spot for many ERC20 or Ethereum based tokens. And if that happens, imagine buying Ethereum when it was $14 and now it's $1,800. You may be able to do that with Theta today.
Very good call. It's exciting.
Yeah. Hey, it makes me want to go look for more.
Yeah.
All right, what's coming up after that? Anything juicy?
I got a couple here. I just pulled up a few, but there's one that I thought might be worth, maybe one more worth sharing. If you you have any more? Are you done?
You know what? I had a ton of them. I'm just cherry picking the best because last week was so nutso. Yeah. and then I have a couple that I thought, man, he's probably going to have them. So I'm not gonna bring them out right away because we probably both saw the same thing.
I'm gonna share one actually that you sent in our group chat earlier this week. That maybe we could close on this one. And it's that the Pentagon report will detail difficult to explain UFO sightings coming up. And there's a gentleman by the name of John Ratcliffe. He was the director of national intelligence under Trump. And I actually saw this interview, very interesting, just talking about, there really is stuff that we can't explain. There is no valid explanation for it. Like, things that can go faster than the speed of sound without a sonic boom. Mm-hmm. And, I think that this is going to be a part of a huge unveiling, a huge turning point for humanity to maybe awaken their consciousness to, things existing outside of just humanity, intelligent life forms, potentially.
I would agree. I remember seeing this law signed back in January, and it basically gave them 6 months to disclose something, which will be a first, because for the last, oh my gosh, I don't know, 50 years or so, the notions of UFOs or extraterrestrial life or, any of that sort of stuff has been relegated to the sole possession of the conspiracy theorist. And it's typically been publicly debunked by the government, by authorities at every turn. And I think we are going to get some information. This will be the first and probably a series of several disclosures. I imagine they're probably going to keep the juiciest stuff for themselves for now. But it is an admission, essentially. Yes, you were right. We were lying. And we've heard about this going on, the Roswell stuff, the notion of reverse engineered tech, crash landed whatevers. And and here's the thing, if I was working for the government and I got my hands on some stuff back in 1947, I would try to figure out how it works. And yes, I would probably keep it quiet, certainly back then, because I don't think people were ready. But we've had 40 years of sci-fi movies to get us accustomed to the notion. So we won't have, people panicking in the streets if in fact they start to spill the beans a little at a time, that no, we're not alone. And, we probably don't have a ton of actionable information about who's out there. But you know, I mean, we got some of their gizmos and gadgets, and we've been, you know, playing around them like chimpanzees trying to mess with radios, and you know, hopefully not blow ourselves up in the process. So
Right.
hey, this is all part of the decade we're moving into. Blockchain, disclosure, probably the decline of the dollar, the ascension of the crypto space, and vitamin mania coming in the aftermath of the COVID crisis.
That's it. So have your gun ready, have your vitamins ready, have your supplies, food and water ready to go. Invest in crypto and silver, and you should be good to go.
Yeah, yeah, and not just for yourself, but for your people. You know, I would anticipate that most of the people who are investing their time with us, listening to our content, are probably a little more on the forward thinking end, a little more on the visionary and pioneering side, certainly within their circles. And as such, we want to give you guys actionable information, not just to benefit yourself, but for your people who rely on you and depend on you, and be patient with them. You know, change is tough, and this decade is going to see change like we have not seen since I don't know when. We've never gone through this in recorded history that I can think of. This is going to be the most dramatic 10 years of change that we've ever had. So buckle up and enjoy the ride.
On that note, I think that might be a good place to sign off.
100%. Till next time, people, stay faithful.